Good evening. It's Wednesday, October 26th, 2022. Welcome back to BoomerRexTonight, your nearly daily source for news and politics. I'm RisenLadyHeathen. Hey, asshole, what separates our show from other Millennial news podcasts?
Nope, I had something. It's gone now. I make a really good quiche.
I'll bet you do.
We have a boomer, and not just any boomer. We have Mr. BoomerRex himself.
You have a quiche eating boomer.
You two eat, sleep, and breathe politics, and I'm still learning. That's 3 unique perspectives we share, along with the facts from our literal round table. Tonight, more Tremors talk. We'll be discussing Tremors 2 Aftershocks. And we have a Burn It Down Wednesday. So, let's dig right into our headlines. Martians? What's going on with Martians?
Well, there's always been a desire to say, are there any Earth microbes that could survive on Mars? Partly because we don't want to contaminate Mars, partly because we're wondering, since Mars was wetter and warmer at one time, could there have been life on Mars that we'll eventually find some evidence for?
Sure.
So, anyway, so they have done a check on some of the tougher microbes that we know of. And they checked to see how long they could lie dormant and still be viable. And it turns out that Conan the bacterium can do that.
Oh, no.
This is Genococcus radiodurans, also known as Conan the bacterium. Can withstand about 28,000 times as much radiation as a person. So even more than cockroaches. That's pretty cool.
Huh.
And could have lain dormant on Mars for 300 million years, if it was buried under, say, 10 meters of dirt.
Huh.
So, hey,
Cool.
Excellent.
Yeah, I love how people are like, oh, Mars went through like a, complete change of ecosystem, blah, blah, blah. And like it's a new thing. Like we've known that for a while, haven't we?
Yeah.
Like, I just remember like stumbling across an article and I was like, why are you acting like this is some surprise? I knew about this. I learned about that in like school when we'd go to like the planetariums and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, so this isn't new, but whatever. I guess some people don't pay attention. Nah, got nothing.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's move on. How to oppress citizens with Putin.
So here's an interesting one. White House says there are signs of Russia advising Iran on how to crack down on public demonstrations. Yeah, we've seen how effective Russia is at the things they try to do. So, yeah, you go right ahead and take their,
Yeah,
you
that's
go
what
right
I
ahead
don't
and take their
understand.
suggestions. Why would anybody listen to
Right?
that
Why would a
failed?
tier 3
third
country
world-
listen to what's
Well,
not,
they
what's
are,
obviously not a tier 2 country?
They are selling Putin drones.
They are, and we need to get that into the UN and get all the sanctions back on Iran.
Yeah.
Sanction them to the point they don't get drugs, they don't get food, they don't get nothing. So, anyway.
Yeah, I do not believe the moderates are likely to take power. How long did it take for the Shah to fall? Yeah, I feel like it's been a lot longer.
Yeah.
Somehow the Ayatollah seems to have a more iron fucking grip.
Fair.
So,
I still favor arming the protesters and let them kill some of those
Absolutely.
religious police.
it's the only thing we'll do. We'll shut off all of their internet except for, directing them to Colt and name 3 other American gun companies. Remington, yeah.
And SIG.
Yeah.
So anyway, Vladimir Putin reiterated Moscow's claim that Ukraine was planning to use a dirty bomb. Again, everybody inside is saying this is transparently false. It's just noise out of Russia. Just Pootie Boy beating his chest and trying to look effective.
Probably also, again, I think that he's mad that, like, everybody was like, you're setting up to drop a dirty bomb. And he's like, nuh-uh, it's not me. It's totally them. It's definitely them. And, blah, 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 blah. And, Trump noises.
So anyway, he went on to say, we have the feeling that at this moment the authorities in Kiev need to attract attention by something because the offensive attack on different fronts, the counterattack as they're calling it, has stopped. They're losing resources. The front line has stabilized. Oh, please let the fucking Russians believe that.
right?
That's the dumbest thing I ever saw a person say. The other team is gathering up the resources to come fuck you up, and you think they're stopped? I love it.
Yeah.
So let's see, what else have we got? The Russian ambassador to United Kingdom, Andrei Kellen, told CNN that Russia would never use nuclear weapons in the country's war with Ukraine. Yeah, right. Well, you
We're
should
gonna
talk
find out, aren't we?
You should talk to Pooty Boy.
That's not the thing that matters so much, Russia. The question is whether or not we're going to let Ukraine use nukes in its war with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Help Ukraine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give them back their nukes or an equivalent basket of nukes thereof.
Meanwhile, Russia's frantically shooting their limited number of Iranian missiles. They've used about 400 so far. And Ukraine appears to be shooting down 60 to 70% of them and getting better as it goes along. So there's lots of open source evidence that Iran is providing drones to the Russians, and it's time to sanction Iran to the point that they wish they hadn't. So let's see. Ukraine military intelligence says Russia continues to move its occupation administration out of the southern Kherson region, but they're moving in all those new conscripts, the ones they're giving the rusty weapons.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're being put in as cannon fodder.
Oh, that'll be great.
Yeah. So, Ukraine, this is the time to start leafleting them.
Yep.
Promise them food, warm clothes, and decent treatment.
Yeah.
And tell them the only
ticket to X and such a
tell them
place.
the only thing they have to do is submit to an interrogation about.
They gotta bring you a vital part of a fucking vehicle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, that's good. I like that too.
You bring me a distributor cap, shithead. You don't go in the big pit at the end of the fucking road with the rest of the scumbag Russians.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I don't mean pit with bodies. I mean future sunflower emporium.
Ah, yes.
Well, at least that way they contribute to the economy.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and you can just feed them sunflower seeds, and then it'll grow out of their corpses. It's fine.
One way or the other.
so anyway, for months, Vladimir Putin's been waiting and watching for the fractures in the West's commitment to the Ukraine and so forth. And of course, the surrender monkey Republicans have been more than happy to provide that. And a question you might want to ask is how much Russian money has flowed into the Republican Party this time?
I bet a lot.
It used to be a lot. I don't know if it's still a lot or not.
NRA could do 30. Well, I have heard it speculated. That's why the NRA could go and give 36 million, and their average year is 5.
So anyway,
Well, and last time I heard the NRA wasn't doing too good, so if they suddenly have a pile of money, I would be looking at that.
and so naturally the fucking Dems had to step on their dicks and say something stupid, which they have taken back. But speaking of that, even Surrender Monkey McCarthy, who had suggested that Republicans might pull back funding for Ukraine if they take the majority and so forth. So no. He wasn't planning to abandon Ukraine. He was just calling for greater oversight of any federal, the standard, walk it back, surrender monkey, Kevin McCarthy. So,
Whatever.
gotta love it.
All right, what else you got for this?
Nothing. I'm on to just fuck 'em.
All right, let's move on to Just Fuck 'em.
So, turns out Amazon lies.
No.
Yeah, after January 6th, Amazon pledged to stop its corporate PAC contributions to politicians who tried to overturn the results. That they had suspended their contributions, yada, 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 yada. The company has quietly restarted funneling money to election-denying House members.
Yep.
Amazon's Political Action Committee sent $17,500 to 9 different GOP representatives just in the month of September.
Fuck you, Amazon.
In addition to those 9 Republicans, which includes Stephanie Bice, Darrell Issa, Mike Rogers, the PAC also contributed $30,000 each to the National Republican Congressional Committee and the National Republican Senatorial Committee, both of which are funding a number of candidates who have pushed election conspiracy theories. I remind everybody that Walmart has a mail order business that's up and running, and you do store pickup or have it mailed to you or whatever. So you might try looking at Walmart before you spend your money on Amazon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm down with that. No, Walmart also has a similar service as Amazon, where you pay like $100 or whatever it is
And
a
shipping's
year.
free.
Shipping's free, and they will deliver to you
Ooh, I like
for
that.
free as well.
Yeah, well,
You get unlimited deliveries, so that's pretty cool.
so we haven't talked about the loony circus in a while. So Rudy Giuliani is being prosecuted for violating legal ethics. He wants to bring expert witnesses to the trial.
Like Mike Lindell.
Mike Lindell wasn't specifically on the list, nor was Kraken Lady, but of course they would be. Right. Anyway. So the District of Columbia's Office of Disciplinary Counsel says these people should not be labeled as experts. They're coming in to testify about voting irregularities and alleged illegalities. You know, standard Trumpisty
Bullshit.
shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
No, the
yeah,
same
it's
way
just Rudy Giuliani turns everything he's involved in into a fucking circus.
they know how they destroyed belief in climate change, so they're gonna just keep doing that.
Yep.
And the press will help. The press has learned nothing and will learn nothing, and most of them won't care when they aren't allowed to report. Right? They already just report what they're told.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, in detail. So don't worry. I
Let's see,
didn't
what
want you
else
to
have
let
we
your
got?
vehemence out yet. Save it. We're
So-
almost there.
Next up is why the hell did you warn the fools? So Republicans in Ohio have been counseling Republicans to don't use the voting machines, right? Get an absentee ballot and fill it out and then deliver it to the polling place on November the 8th.
I don't think that works that way.
It does in many states. It does not in Ohio, where the polling place cannot accept the absentee ballot and they will not be counted.
I'm gonna literally pull a goddamn muscle resisting the urge to
So
encourage this
who's
behavior.
I
telling
know.
people to do that?
Ohio Republicans.
Good job, Ohio Republicans. You're not gonna win anything apparently.
Yeah,
The best
well,
part is, well, it doesn't matter this time, but in presidential elections, Republicans can't be president without Ohio.
so anyway,
I
sadly,
hope they fix that.
Ohio's state elections chief is cautioning them that that won't work. And I'm sitting there going, why the fuck would you do that? So anyway, maybe
That
he's a
defeats
Republican.
the whole purpose of the.
Yes, Republican Secretary of State Frank LaRose said the voters who heed that advice will not be able to deliver their ballots. It's why it's dangerous for people who don't know what they're talking about to be dispensing election-related advice.
Yes. Oh,
No
that's
shit.
wonderful.
As I recall, Mike Lindell was one of those who was pushing that idea. We're talking about some
All
dumb
they're
fucking
doing
folks.
is screwing themselves over.
They don't care. This is the right. The nice thing about this is if we are incredibly lucky, and we
Hold on. Could they be doing this on purpose so that when people show up to try to cast their votes and they can't, then they get mad and say, this is a sham. See, we told you it was a sham election. They didn't accept your ballots.
Power. Again, it's the problem with describing four-dimensional chess.
Yeah.
Yes, there are Republicans that exist who are smart enough to do that. None
None of them were
absolutely
involved
isn't.
in this advice.
I don't know. I'm just
Never
saying.
attribute to malice what stupidity explains.
Fair.
So,
All right, ready to move forward. Okay.
about damn time.
Are you gonna let me introduce these, or I was asking if you were ready to move on?
Yes,
Okay. So BoomerRex is about damn time. Give me the good news, please.
it is about damn time.
It is.
Maybe.
So, anyway, a jury in Wisconsin has convicted Darrell Brooks for
yes.
killing 6 people and injuring dozens more.
Oh, this was delightful.
859 years.
Yep.
So,
We already got a sentence, or is that just the expected?
he faces 6 life
Fine.
sentences
Yeah.
plus 859 years. So,
I know that was similar to the plea bargain they were offering, but again,
Yeah,
they
I
had-
saw that the total was somewhere around 2,000 something years with the
Cool.
life sentences and the whatever. So
I had 1,200, but yeah,
sentencing will be on Monday, so that'll be exciting, and we'll definitely report on that. Asshole and I watched the verdict, and we were very surprised that he behaved himself very well. He was pretty calm the whole time the verdict was being read. Didn't make any interruptions or anything like that, which I think everybody was expecting a big blow up from him. But maybe that's going to come during the sentencing phase. Maybe it hasn't hit him yet, so I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Because he seemed pretty subdued. So
Oh,
I don't know if he
shucks.
was expecting it or
Well, if he wasn't expecting it, he's stupid.
no, he is stupid. Not in a rude way, but he honestly believed that he had.
Yeah. Again, I am willing to agree that sovereign citizens universally have, right, a mental defect.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's inflicted because they're just damaged and have given up, and because it's got the same fervent as this psychotic faith we see running around in the poor evangelicals.
Yeah, it's
Right, the kind that believe in a God that really will give you some sort of cancer because you took their parking spot. Right, because they've given up on it ever getting better or finding out what that lump on their side is, or
Yeah.
right.
so, right, they need a fairly fucking rabid kind of God, and that's the same kind of feeling when I've seen sovereign citizens trying to explain their shit, they get that lunatic look in their eye.
Yeah. No, again, this is a very specific psychological defect.
Yeah.
And it happens when your opinion is in the minority and you're challenged and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway,
Yep. So we
on
will.
the same day, 3 men accused of supporting terrorism to kidnap Michigan's governor were convicted on all charges.
Oh, good.
So,
And Darrell Brooks was also convicted on all of his charges as well, including the battery.
yeah, it's like 60 charges.
It's
a huge fucking number.
71 or 72, I believe, is
Excellent.
the entire count.
All right.
But we will let you know how that plays out on Monday as far as sentencing is concerned. So we will be coming back to that later. So let's move on to Dumbass of the Day. Who gets the crown?
So some of the down ballot Republicans in competitive districts in Texas are talking about softening the Texas total abortion ban. Said, they would be open to exclusions for rape and incest and life of the mother and so forth. How stupid are the people of Texas that you would believe anything a Republican told you? They're
About
going to
women's
vote
rights.
exactly the way they are told to vote
Yep.
by their masses.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, it's nice to know they're scared. Don't listen to them, laugh at them, and walk away.
Well, I that's the trick, right? That's how every moderate Republican exists at the local level.
Yeah.
I obviously don't think we should do that. Oh, no, they've done this thing I didn't think they should do, but, anyway.
Yeah,
And
that's
again,
kind of how a lot of Republicans take it, is because when you think about it, most of these Republicans, don't think about abortion, don't really care. Men don't give a fuck about abortions at all, for the most part.
And-
It doesn't affect them in any manner.
well, and they don't give a shit about anything because 50% of boomers have less than $10,000 set aside for retirement.
Right.
So they're never going to give a shit about another human being.
Yeah. So, it is what it is. Anyway, let's move on to updates with BoomerRex.
Oh, I thought this one was fun.
Health threats.
Kids who played video games
Yeah.
showed better cognitive performance than non-gamers.
That
They
makes
looked at
sense.
2,000 children ages 9 and 10 who played video games for at least 21 hours a week. That's 3 hours. Yeah, okay. They performed better in response to inhibition tasks and working memory versus those who never played video games.
Yep.
It's a lot of hand-eye coordination.
Hey, it's all the stuff you just listed, right? Remembering where the blue key is on level 4,
Mm-hmm.
the that ability to look at a two-dimensional display and interpolate a third dimension.
Right.
That's a whole thing about fast mapping that is good for the human brain.
So their reactions were faster, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, hey,
Yeah, the
way to
times
go.
to kill in video games are measured in hundreds of milliseconds.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, no. If you're gonna get a kill, you gotta get it quick.
Yep.
And that means aiming and all kinds of crazy.
Mm-hmm. Well, and being able to visualize where your target is and where they're gonna come up next,
Yeah.
or where they're going.
Yeah, no, it's Prisoner's Dilemma wrapped up in about 12 other good logic puzzles all happening all at the same time.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's multitasking at its absolute worst.
Mm-hmm.
And with, unlike, when we have people do it at work, incredibly low stakes.
Okay, so that's a lot of fun. All right, climate weirding.
All right, so we got just great news in climate weirding. The amount of carbon dioxide and 2 other greenhouse gases in Earth's atmosphere hit record highs last year. So trapping heat in the atmosphere, driving global warming. The world is nowhere near hitting its targets to cut greenhouse gas emissions, putting it on track to soar past the global warming limit that countries had committed to. We can now expect warming of 2.5 degrees Celsius, which is a full degree more than the original
in real
Paris
people
Accords. What?
In real people numbers,
4.5 degrees Fahrenheit.
that's right up there where we're discussing the potential collapse of fucking agriculture as a concept.
Yeah. So
Well, industrialized agriculture. Your family can probably subsistence farm for a while.
maybe, yeah.
Yeah, look around, see what zone you're in. Do you already have a garden? No, you're fucked.
Yep.
On the other hand, do you live near a major road? Then you're probably also fucked. Because the people in the cities aren't going to stay in the cities and die nicely.
No, they're going to come take your stuff.
Yes,
Absolutely.
and they have more infrastructure to do the taking than you do.
Yep. And there are more of them.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to Burn It Down Wednesday.
What are we burning down?
Well, Asshole's going to help me out with this one. The
That's how
media
you go.
is fucking it up again.
Learned fucking nothing. Like my goddamn cats.
Yep.
No, our cats are smarter than the media.
That's true. No, we know from everyone who knows anything that the big problem from the press, right? Let's pretend that the frame of reference for when it was fucked up is 2015 forward.
Yeah.
It was all working great till then. The covering every Trump's tweet is the same as covering all of his little truths. The inability for us to hold him accountable in any fashion.
So, what set us off on this needs to be a Burn It Down Wednesday is a headline that is scrolling itself across a lot of media sites right now. One of them on Politico says,
Motherfuckers.
Fetterman struggles during TV debate with Oz. Now,
All right, Bedwetters League, I need you to do something for me. And I say that as a prior bedwetter. Maybe, you don't know. I need you to not freak out 2 goddamn weeks before the thing. This is one of those things that, if we were going to go do crimes or whatever you think of going with a group of people to do, and you acted like this, I would beat you so bad you had to stay with the cars. If nothing else, is a message to the others. God fucking damn it. Because we watched the clip.
So basically what they're trying to argue is that Fetterman was struggling and seemed to be stuttering and whatnot, and I watched the video and I did not
He
get
sounds
any
better than
vibe.
Mr. Potato Head.
He would pause to collect his thoughts and he would speak, and that's what I feel like a normal person should do. I don't feel like he paused for an excessive amount of time. He didn't have Biden pauses. He didn't have Biden stumbling over his words. Do you know what I mean? This was just kind of a natural flow, and
Did he speak in complete sentences?
Oh yeah, complete sentences with minimal breaks in between. I mean, it's not like he paused for 30
Okay, so-
seconds. He would pause for a second or two, a moment or two,
Yeah,
to
it was-
collect his thoughts.
It was...
So better than Trump, Herschel Walker, Ted Cruz.
significantly.
God,
Oh,
yeah.
significantly.
Okay.
So there we go. Rando Democrat with a stroke and a dad bod. Better than fucking tier 1 Republican leadership.
Yep.
That's what happens when you ask the
I
fucking
love that.
like
That's wonderful.
AI art maker for skull-faced sunflower killing Russian soldiers propaganda poster.
Yes,
Yeah, they're
that goes on
wonderful.
our thing tonight.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
Add those to our picture lists. Anyway, but yeah, so basically what a lot of places are covering this, not with that exact headline, but similar headlines. Fetterman, you know, Democrats worried about Fetterman with his, you know, crazy or bad, you know, showing at this debate, and I have no idea what these people are talking about. Like, they're severely over exaggerating any minor problems, that missteps maybe he made. I didn't see any.
First
in the
off,
clip
it was
that
a
they
pain in the
shared.
ass to find the whole thing, so I'm going to have to go and run it down. There was a bit about he was stumbling over his stance on fracking, and the problem with Pennsylvania is it's one of those places where you can't be against fracking real hard. They're going to fuck up. They're going to poison the Marcellus Shale formation and everyone who gets their water from it. So, you know, 2/3 of the eastern seaboard. But it's also where all the fucking jobs are. Right? It'd be like being against mining in Kentucky. Yeah, you can do it, but
It's not going to go over well.
right.
So I imagine what it probably was him pausing, thinking about what he was going to say, and then speaking, which,
Yeah.
again, I have no issues with that. And maybe he's also, like, nervous on stage. I know I would be.
especially knowing that everyone's going to be holding it up to whatever the hell their favorite clip of me is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, I know I would be nervous as fuck doing a debate, because you don't necessarily know what's coming up. I don't know if they give you lists of questions.
Working on campaigns is fucking exhausting.
Yeah.
Being the lead and face of one, I cannot imagine. Like, I would absolutely go back on ADD meds for sure.
This dude had a stroke 4 months ago, and from everything I've seen of him, he's recovered amazingly quickly.
Yeah.
I've heard strokes can take years for people to
That's
recover
assuming
from.
you recover.
Right.
Yeah, and so again, I think that this is the media. Aswell and I were enraged. This is ridiculous. The media is fucking it up again. They've done this before. They're doing it again. As Aswell was
The
saying
media.
earlier,
When your
he did it
coworker
with
got
Trump.
blasted on live television, this is why I spent the next 2 days making insufferably smug jokes. Because no one gives a shit about the free press because we haven't had one in so long. I don't think that we've had one while I've been alive. There certainly hasn't been much speaking truth to power. You all sound a great deal like Chuck Todd. What the fuck are you doing in the twilight of the fucking republic?
Yeah.
Being sure they sell soap
Aye.
and reading what they were given to read.
Again,
That's fine. But it means when they're hanging on the wall, no one's gonna shed a tear for them.
No.
If,
That I hope people out you when you run to ground.
if you read headlines like this, don't just trust them out of hand, okay? Because even if you read through the article that said this, like, it says nothing about the issues that they felt like he was having or anything like that. So I'm not really sure what the point of the headline is. Again, this is clickbait, right? And that's what a lot of this is. This is just to get you to click on it. I don't know what to say, except this is inappropriate, and this is why Trump won last time.
Yep.
This is why these Trumpista assholes are running now.
This is how you eroded support in the belief in fucking climate change.
Yes.
Because you put on a Nobel laureate and fucking Cletus. And no matter how you babble, that makes it sound like these two opinions have equal weight. That it was the assumption because the dumbest Americans still believe that there is a single journalist like Walter Cronkite left. And there fucking isn't. There is. There's one. Two and a bit.
Potentially.
Robert Evans and the foreign correspondent MSNBC head, Richard Engel.
That's true.
Who I
Robert
got to
Evans
see
is
take a lot of
amazing.
MSNBC talking heads to Iraq and introduce them to his friends, and right, that human being, again, it's the same thing. It's the going in and knowing individuals on the ground.
Yep.
And knowing that you can't possibly get a coherent, right, big picture view, but that's not the picture people on the ground in war zones have. They have, I heard the alley next to 4th Street, don't go down it today. It's all shitty back there, and it smells like it might be full of bodies. So, anyway.
Yeah. So again, media, stop fucking this up.
Or don't.
Whatever.
They're gonna get you
you know
first. They've
what?
got a list of media people to go after.
We're gonna keep calling you out for it, and hopefully people listen and share with their friends. So just remember, the media is not your friend.
Or pay us enough that we OD on pies. Yeah. That's your best bet, the media. Get on our Patreon. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, send me money. My cat needs an operation or whatever.
Yes, so that's our Patreon is
Bread and circuses.
on our Facebook account.
Hey, I didn't say my cat's operation wasn't direct action.
Okay.
That's why I need an airship.
Special military operation.
So
Sure.
now we
My
get to
cat run a better one.
Okay. So now we get to move on to some fun. We are going to talk about Tremors 2 Aftershocks. I'm so excited about this. You have no idea. Okay, so last night we talked about the original Tremors, which, again, fucking brilliant movie. Lots of fun. It's a fun little romp, I would say. Tremors 2, same vibes, same everything. It's fun. You have a smaller group of characters in this movie.
If you grew up in the 80s watching horror movies and liked Critters and want to show your kids something that's kind of gory but not going to fuck them up the way Critters might, Tremors is a wonderful series. It's one of my favorite. I completely forgotten the plot of this one until we watched it again, which sounds like a bad thing, but it's not. It's
No, you get to rediscover it.
Exactly. It's a lot of fun. So this movie is called Tremors Aftershocks. And it is the second movie in the 7-movie series. I did hear that they might be making another one next year, so that could be exciting. But the movie came out in 1996, and it came straight to VHS. And I must say, for a straight to VHS movie...
Oh my god, this is wildly better than...
and they only spent $4 million on it versus the $10 million that they spent on the first movie.
Much did it make?
Because there's no box
VHS,
office, it went straight to VHS, so it doesn't have.
Fair.
And again, it's
Enough to spawn
3.
So in the pregame show, I mentioned something special. I'm holding it up; you can't see it. But in the pregame show, I mentioned something special that I am excited to share with you all, and that is, Ethel and I were wandering around Walmart today, and Walmart has a horror movie section set up right now due to Halloween. So I decided to say, maybe. And I took a peek, and sure enough, right there on the shelf was the Tremors 7-movie collection for just under $20.
Wow.
Fucking brilliant. Well done, Walmart.
That's $3 a piece.
And I will say that the first movie on its own is worth the $20. Okay,
Yeah.
So you're basically getting 6 extra movies, 6 more insane Tremor fun, all right here, jam-packed.
It's as young as you can see Kevin Bacon, unless you go back and watch the first Friday the 13th.
Yes, there is
wrong with me?
there is so much fun in this 7-movie series that you will be very sad if you do not buy it. So go out, go to your Walmart, get the 7-movie series collection. I want to read the back of this for you because this is just, it's fun. Okay, so let me read the back of this. It says, includes all 7 movies. Prepare yourself for a terrifying onslaught of monstrous man-eating graboids, flying ass blasters, and heat-seeking shriekers in this complete collection of all 7 movies in the Tremor franchise. Throughout the years and many international locations, the graboids have evolved and become ever more menacing and deadly. Only the gonzo survivalist Burt Gummer, who's played by Michael Gross, can stop them all. The 7 Trevor movie collection includes, and then it lists off the movies, and then it says, also starring Kevin Bacon, Reba McEntire, Jamie Kennedy, and John Heder. This cult classic horror comedy collection is packed with eye-popping special effects and tense action sequences. I am not kidding you. This is just so much fun. Hours of entertainment for the entire family. All of these movies are PG-13 or less. So fun for the whole family.
Yep.
And honestly, There's not a lot of swearing.
That-
I don't ever remember much swearing in the first one or the second one. There was, I think, literally nothing in the second.
No, now I'm gonna have to download it and watch because I didn't think about getting a Walmart copy till after the fact.
I actually did some research on that. That is a misnomer.
Really?
What it is Walmart, like with their DVD or with their music, because that's where it started, was the music. What they would do is only bring in the edited copies of CDs.
Yes. Okay.
So with the movies, they will only provide the theatrical or the less gory for the most part. I also read that the movies that they sell that say full screen, those are edited because they're full screen only. So that gives them the chance to go in and edit them.
Interesting.
But with your regular movies from Walmart, if it says it's a not rated movie, or if it says it's extended sequences or whatever, it is that they don't cut stuff out from. Walmart doesn't go in, make the remaster the movies, you know what I mean, cut out swearing or whatever, and then put it back in a sleeve or something. That's not what's happening here. What it is they buy the less sexy, less violent versions of the movies and sell them. So these are just theatrical releases for the most part, or the original.
I had always heard that they were all heavily edited and stuff. And it seemed like a lot of work.
I did some research, and that's what I found. And I may be wrong. Maybe some of you out there can prove me wrong. If you can, please do. But that is what I've found. So that is what it is, and we can also compare it to a downloaded copy to be sure. So.
Yeah, 'cause now that we have a copy, we have a license to get a copy.
Cool.
Oh yeah, no, we can do whatever we want now. So that's fun. Okay, so let's do a quick reading of this. So this was directed by S.S. Wilson and stars Fred Ward, Christopher Garton, Michael Gross, and Helen Shaver. Did I say that? Shaver. And Marcelo Tubert. It's 97 minutes long. So let me read the plot for you here. Years after the events of the first film, again, spoiler warnings. I'm going to read the entire plot, and then we'll do some quotes. If you haven't seen the movie, this is where you pause, go watch the movie, and then come back, okay? Spoilers.
That's it. 1, 2, 3, you're gone.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Okay. I'm glad you loved the movie as much as I do. Now let's get into it. Years after the events of the first film, Val McKay has moved away and married Rhonda Liback. Those were, so Val and...
The obvious love interest in the first movie.
Yes. Val and Earl were the two main characters in the first movie, with Rhonda.
Yeah, Hottie Geologist number 473.
And then Val and Rhonda get together. So, while Earl Bassett has squandered his fortune on a failing ostrich ranch, he is approached by Carlos Ortega, who informs him that the graboids are killing his workers at his oil field in Chiapas, Mexico, and hires him to hunt them down. Earl initially declines, but Ortega's taxi driver, Grady Hoover, convinces Earl to change his mind after mentioning that Ortega will pay $50,000 for each graboid killed. Both join the hunt. Upon arrival, Earl learns that the company would pay him double if he caught one of the creatures alive. He also meets geologist Kate Riley, her assistant Julio,
Hot Geologist number 2.
and a mechanic named Pedro, all of whom are scientifically investigating the graboids. Earl and Grady begin systematically killing the graboids. This is a really fun scene they do, where they go out in a truck and they're dragging a chain behind them, and they get the graboids to start chasing them, right? And then they take a little remote control car, okay, and they put it out with bombs in it, okay, so it's got dynamite, and then they drive it around until the graboid eats it, right, and they give it a second so it can get inside the graboid, and then they blow up the dynamite. It's a lot of fun. It's a really great sequence. Um, Earl and Grady begin systematically killing the graboids by using remote control cars rigged with explosives. Though their strategy seems to work, the vast number of graboids overwhelm them, and Earl enlists the help of Bert Gummer, who arrives with a deuce-and-a-half truck loaded with firearms and explosives. The next day, Earl and Grady are surprised by one of the graboids, causing them to drive backwards in a panic and crash the truck into an inclined ditch, returning to where they saw the graboid. Earl and Grady find that the creature looks sick and non-aggressive, with all of its tentacles mysteriously dead. Realizing that they have one of the creatures alive, which Ortega offered $100,000 for if accomplished, they call Pedro to come pick them up along with the graboid. However, the graboid later begins making horrific and painful sounds and is soon found dead with a huge hole torn open into its body. They see Pedro's truck approach from the distance, but it suddenly stops, prompting Grady and Earl to investigate and discover the truck's destroyed engine as well as Pedro's remains. They make their way to a nearby radio broadcasting building, which has similarly been destroyed, only to be met by strange bipedal graboid-like creatures. Earl successfully kills one as it charges him, but the two flee in a car they had found as more of the creatures arrive. Meanwhile, Bert's truck is ambushed by a pack of these new creatures while returning to base. The following morning, the creatures have made their way to the oil refinery, where Julio is violently killed by one. Grady and Earl arrive before it can attack Kate, with Bert shortly arriving thereafter, following a near-fatal firefight that has left him drained of ammunition. Throughout experimentation, the group discovers that these creatures, now dubbed Shriekers, are hermaphrodites, and that they can replicate at an incredible rate after eating enough food. They also learn that the creatures cannot hear, unlike their predecessors, but rather see heat through special infrared receptors on their heads. However, they are attacked by the Shriekers, who have discovered Bert's MRE food supply and have rapidly doubled their numbers in a matter of minutes. They run for Julio's car, but Bert accidentally disables it while killing a Shrieker. Hiding from the Shriekers, Bert is trapped in a bulldozer bucket while Grady, Kate, and Earl are on top of an oil tower. The Shriekers work together in an attempt to climb that tower before Bert traps them in the storage shed with the truck. However, they discover rice flour is stored inside the building as well, enabling the Shriekers to continue eating and multiplying inside. Earl douses himself in CO2 from a fire extinguisher to hide his body heat, and tries to find Bert's explosives among the Shriekers, who have multiplied into dozens of creatures. While the plan initially works, the CO2 quickly wears off, and the Shriekers detect his body heat, forcing Earl to throw the detonator among Bert's supplies before escaping. The group manages to escape before a massive explosion devastates the entire facility, destroying all of the Shriekers with it. In the aftermath, Earl and Kate decide to pursue each other romantically, while Grady suggests opening a monster-themed park due to the money Ortega now owes them. So,
Cool.
I mean...
It is delightful.
It is delightful. And I will say that this movie is literally packed with action, right? There's rarely a dull moment. There's a lot of slapstick comedy, and a lot of fun things.
Hey, comedy was your choice if you weren't going to go heavy into the TNA.
Yeah.
Right. And this is the direction that Tremors initially takes before it decides to start taking itself more seriously later on in the collection. It does actually try to go to being like a for real horror series again at some point. But until we get to that point, these movies are just a lot of fun. They're exciting. They're funny. One of Bert's lines was, "How was I supposed to know?" And he says that a couple times in this movie, which is just funny. It's a little forced, but you know what? If you can kind of get over a little bit of that. Just kind of let your mind get into this world, right? Where these tremors are real. So it's Earth today, but with tremors.
Cool.
So it's just a lot. It's just very exciting. I'm sorry. I just love these series. It is very fun. All right. So let's get some quotes real quick here. And there are definitely some good ones. All right. Let's start with some dialogue here.
So $50,000 in '96 would have been $94,585.09. So, yeah, I'd fuck with a big worm for $100,000 a pop.
Oh God, yeah. So in one of the scenes where the sick graboid is kind of on the ground, it suddenly starts to moan, and Earl says something's wrong with it. Must be sick. And Grady says probably ate someone that didn't agree with it, which gives you a good chuckle. Earl at one point says, we're gonna need some help, and Grady says, who'd be crazy enough to help us with this mess? And then it cuts to him calling our good old friend Bert. One of Bert's good lines is, I'm completely out of ammo. That's never happened to me before. He's just distraught. It's really funny. And then he says, I feel I was denied critical need to know information. He's very angry.
And I like that this sets up the hook for his psychotic love of the HK-91 rifle.
Oh, yes.
Which I also happen to share, and it was sad he had to give his up.
And here's some good lines from Earl. So Earl plays rock, paper, scissors with Grady, and Earl loses. So what he says is, no, rock rips through paper. And then about 5 minutes later in the movie, you see Grady go, wait a minute, doesn't paper cover rock? And Bert's like, yeah. And he's like, damn it. It's just very funny.
And it's a delightful scene, because yes, that's what you do.
Another good line from Earl is, goddamn worms never give you a break. That ain't no graboid, it's something even more dangerous. And that's when they discover the Shriekers. Let's see. Grady has a few good lines. He often says, sorry, I forgot. That's just like kind of a repeated throwaway line. So there's a scene where the graboid grabs onto the chain that's attached to the truck, right? The chain they were dragging around to call in the graboids. And it starts pulling the truck around. And then as soon as they manage to escape from that scenario, Grady says, Earl, that's going to be the first ride at my theme park. Because Grady's decided he's going to make a theme park with all the money he makes so that he can make even more money. So just, again, it's just a fun movie.
No, and it's right out of the golden age of monster movies because, as you can tell from what Risen's saying, it's got all of the good scenes from like Jaws and all the other things. So you've got these expectations and it leads you right at the edge and then subverts most of them in some way. Right,
and for the fact that they spent significantly less money on this movie than the first, I would say quality-wise it was the same, right? Like, it was very well done. The graboids, they don't lose anything in the CGI. I actually think that's where like all their money went into.
Yeah, sure.
For the movie was the CGI and the puppets that they used. And the puppets were really well done. And I always love when a movie, this is why I like Jurassic Park, because they had that mixture of CGI and
physical ass creature.
Mm-hmm. I think that a lot of movies nowadays lose the, it loses the fear factor.
It's only in the last like 4 or 5 years we've been able to do CGI good enough the human mind doesn't look at it and go,
yeah, right.
The fuck is wrong, right? Yeah. That is actually, because internet, every third fucking fedora wearer motherfucker out there is babbling about the uncanny valley like they know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
But this is a genuine example of it. Same as at the grocery store when you see a face of one of the magazine people or a makeup person. A number of those are computer generated, and for the longest time they were subtly wrong. And the reason is the face. Humans love symmetry in faces, but there is a point past which the symmetry begins to bother us.
Right.
That it doesn't have.
Well, because people's faces aren't symmetrical.
Aren't perfect. Yeah. Same reason why the mirrored images of like left side, right side of people's faces, we input a great deal of motivation behind this facial structure.
But I will say that movies nowadays lose a lot by not utilizing puppets appropriately. And again, this movie keeps a good balance, right, of the CGI and puppetry, which make it really fun and again exciting. So tomorrow we're going to talk about the third one, which is Tremors Back to Perfection.
Nice.
So I think actually that might be the back in time one, but we'll find out for surezies, because it's been a while since we've watched all the movies. So we're gonna watch the third one. We'll have that for you tomorrow. But again, it's just a really fun series. It's really cheap, and it's definitely worth it if you're interested in this kind of thing at all. So that's just my humble opinion. I absolutely love this series. It is exciting and fun and funny, and I just the characters really make it. And if I'm correct, Bert is in every one of these, isn't he?
Yeah, I do believe it.
I think there's one or two that he isn't in later on in the series, but
because I'd have said the other way, but
yeah, I think. But in any case, you get to stick with at least one of the same characters. They're pretty good about keeping the same people in the movies, so it's exciting. It's fun. Just do it. Just watch it. You'll like it. I promise. And in the meantime, do not forget to comment, like, subscribe, heart, follow, review, smash
that like button on YouTube.
Go to BoomerRexTonight, no spaces on Facebook for fun memes and a link to our Patreon. Give us $1. You can find us on YouTube as BoomerRex, or check your favorite podcasting service for BoomerRexTonight. We can be found on over a dozen different platforms, including Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Samsung Podcasts. Hit us up on Twitter at BoomerRexTonight, and if you Google BoomerRexTonight, no spaces, all links will lead you to us. We love you all. We'll see you back here tomorrow night for more Tremors and more BoomerRexTonight.